Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. Isn't it a romantic time of year? There's cupids everywhere and Valentine hearts. And of course, this time of year makes me think of love. And the love of my life is my husband, Russell. And I wanted to commemorate some flowers he gave me this year for our 5th year of marriage on Valentine's Day. I loved these flowers and I wanted to do a page. I also added some beautiful quilling, which we're going to try today. It's so fun and you're going to love doing it. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to teach you is how to make your title block. I have this beautiful red paper. It has almost a color wash to it. I cut it out to 3.5 inches by 12 inches. Now I want to decorate it a little bit before I put my title on. So we have this really cute red checkered border sticker. We're going to add it to our color washed paper just along one edge and press down. Make sure you get that nice and straight. Now we're going to start working on our actual title. This page is called 5 Years Later because it's been 5 years since I've been married, and I wanted to incorporate cardstock stickers and also a large number. So the first thing I want to teach you how to do though is the cardstock stickers. A lot of people ask me, how do you get these stickers so straight on your pages? Well, I have a really good tip to teach you. I adhere my stickers to my ruler. I have this wonderful ruler, so I put my stickers along one of those guides, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to complete my word, years. We're just going to place this on the ruler, just barely. We're not going to stick it down because we really don't want it to stick to the ruler. This is just our tool to adhere it with. I'm going to lay my ruler on my paper, make sure it's straight, and we're going to press down on this side. Now we're going to hold it down and slide our ruler out. And there we have a really straight stickers. Isn't that fun? A lot of people like the messy look, so you can certainly do that. But for this case, I wanted them to be straight. So here's one that I've added an additional word to that says years later. Now we're going to add the number 5. I computer generated the number 5 out on some regular printer paper. We're going to adhere this to this color wash paper, and using this number as a template, I want to cut out this number. I have one that is already cut right here, and I'm going to add a little bit of dimension to this. So I'm going to add some ink just along the edges. This is my old ink pad, but I wanted to give it a little bit of dimension, and you know how much I love to use foam on my pages. So what I'm going to do, I have these little strips of foam that I've cut out, and I actually turned over the 5 and I glued them using a liquid glue to the back of my number. What I did then is I took my tape runner and just rolled the tape along on the back, and we're just going to place it right next to our stickers, like so. And that adds a nice shadow. You can really see, since I've cut them out of the same type of paper, I wanted there to be a little bit of definition. Now we're going to build the rest of our page. I'm going to start out with some craft colored 12 by 12 cardstock. I thought it was a nice base for the photos. And I have this beautiful picture of the tulips that Russell gave me on Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to put this picture at the top corner. Now I wanted to add some fabric. I was at my local fabric store and I saw this fabric and I thought, that's so romantic looking. It's really old-fashioned. Don't be afraid to use fabric. You can use it just as easily as you can pattern papers. We're going to smooth that down. Now I want to add my title block. And of course I wanted to commemorate this story of how special it was to me that he gave me these flowers. And so I wrote out my journaling onto the same color wash paper that I had used previously. And you know how much I love foam, and so I put some on the back of this journaling block. And now we're just going to adhere it right here, overlapping our border sticker. So the next step is adding pictures on the fabric block that I already adhered. I have these pictures of our wedding. Russell's Uncle Charlie took this picture, which is one of my absolute favorites. And I also have a picture that was taken this summer, 5 years after we were married. I'm going to adhere those on top of the fabric. I wanted to add the dates of these pictures, so I punched some circles out of the same color wash pattern paper and wrote the date onto these. I put some adhesive on the back, and I'm just going to slide this in between the photo and the mat. I'm going to do the same thing on our wedding date. Now what I want to add are some cardstock words. I have this word promise, and I'm going to adhere it right here. And then I have True Love, and I'm actually going to put this over my title. Some people might say, well, then you can't read it, but I think you can read it fine. I have another word, and these are actually adhered directly on top of my foam. Cut this out following the line of the sticker, and I'm going to place this on the picture. So now we're going to work on our quilled pieces. This is really fun. You're going to love doing it. The first thing is you get these quilling strips, and they're in long, long, long strips, and you never ever cut them with scissors. You always tear the strip. This is called a circle template board. It's really good. It has all of these circles in it in different sizes. If you have a really large piece that you want to quill, it's easy to have uniformity with all of the pieces because you can put this in the template. There's also a convenient ruler at the top. So if I want to measure my piece out to be 4 inches long, I'm going to measure 4 inches. I'm not going to cut it, I'm going to tear it. The reason for tearing is because the threads of the paper, the fibers of the paper separate, and this is going to help when you want to glue the pieces. They really meld seamlessly to create uniformity. So I have these red and green quilling strips already pre-torn. Isn't that convenient? And we're going to use the Quilled Creations slotted tool. This is really, really good for beginners because it's basically foolproof. The Quilled Creations title lines up with the slot in the tool. You're going to take your quilled strip in your hand and hold it against your index finger. You're just going to slide this into the slot. Now we want to slide it down to where there's hardly any paper showing on that one side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to roll this slotted tool. We're going to do this very, very slowly. You want to keep a constant pressure on the needle tool on your index finger, and you want to roll to where the roll is straight. You don't want to let it get to the side or get crooked because then it's not going to lay straight on your paper. Now, to get this off of the slotted tool, we want to push off the quilled piece with our fingernail. And this is where the circle template board is really handy. You put this in the board and they uncoil to the size that you want. Now, to get this to stay so where it doesn't unravel more, we're going to glue it. Now remember I gave you that little tip about how you tear the edges? The reason is because you use this white craft glue, and when you dab this on, which you're going to see I have this, I mean a tiny amount. These are little pieces of paper. You don't need a big glob of glue or you're going to muck up all of your beautiful quilling work. And now that we have that glue, the fibers are really softening in there because of that water. Now we're going to take the needle tool and we're just simply going to fold it over and smooth out those fibers. It's really going to be seamless. So now we have our loose coil. So now I'm going to teach you how to create a marquee out of your loose coil. I have one here and it's nice and glued and seamless. What we're going to do is we're going to place it in between our thumbs and our index fingers. It's right there, making a little diamond. Now we're going to press evenly. And we want to keep that circle. You see that inner circle right there? We want to keep it in the middle because we want this to be really even. We're just going to pinch down. And as you can see, it looks like a little marquee. So now what we're going to do is glue on a quilled piece. Here is the one I created. I added some teardrops and I put them together and it made a little heart, and I added some loose scrolls and the marquee, and you know, you can do so many different things. We're going to take our needle tool. We're just going to get a tiny, like I said, really, really small amount of white craft glue onto the tip of your needle tool. Then we're simply going to dab it along our quilled pieces. We don't want a lot of glue because it would squeeze through and mess up all of our pretty work. Now we're going to drop this onto our photo exactly like that. I'm just going to press down, make sure that that's nice. Now we're not going to touch it because we don't want it to slide around, especially on this glossy photo, and mess it all up. So now let's look at our finished layout. As you can see, here's my little quilled creation that I made, and I added another quilling piece right here on our present day photo. This is an S scroll and another S scroll here at the top on my journaling block. I also added, just for some added sparkle, some glitter sticker dots. I really hope that you try quilling. It's so easy. Some people are intimidated by it, but I tell you, it's easy, it's simple, it adds a beautiful touch to your layouts. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next time.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.